I'm Martin. Hi. I've been with BMI for pretty much 2 years now. I am running a Webflow agency. We're 8 team members, including myself. So a couple of web designers, web devs, and a project manager. And our bread and butter is Webflow websites for our clients. And we focus on providing value for value-minded people who want to make cool as Webflow websites. Our clients are, I would say, 30% are from the States and Canada, 30% are from Germany or German-speaking areas, and the rest is from all over the place. It's mostly Western clients. And it's startups and corporates, and we've worked with the NFL in the States, and now we're currently working with O2, which is exciting. That's basically what we're doing. We're having a good time, try to work with people we like, make cool websites for them. It's working great. My last video we recorded in April 2024. It's now August 2025, and recorded the last video because I hit the milestone of 40K revenue, I think, per month. And now we are recording the next video because I'm hitting 85K revenue per month. So that's great. And things have been developing quite nicely. Obviously, there has been a lot of progress. And I think I made basically the revenue I made in the whole of 2024 in the first half year of 2025. So far, so good. Next, from revenue, there were a bunch of changes. In April 2024, we were about to hit our first big client, which were the Houston Texans from the NFL. It's an NFL team. And this was like our first step into big projects, as in like comparatively big projects for Webflow anyway, deeper into the 5 figures. It was also the start for me to really have a project manager, when before I was always doing everything. I was doing the sales, onboarding the clients, onboarding the designers and the devs, working on the whole delivery with everybody, doing the internal design reviews, the client design reviews, dev reviews, etc., which of course gets cumbersome once you have 15 projects at once. And briefly after that video we recorded, I hired my first project manager, which was the first time when I was actually starting to be detached from delivery, meaning now the ship I had built had not only left the harbor, but it kept sailing by itself, which was crazy for me because at this point I could basically lean back and things would not immediately like start fucking sinking. So I could focus more on lead gen, and on my online presences and on sales and whatnot. It took a lot of pressure and workload off myself, and it allowed me to focus on the things I really wanted to focus on while keeping quality high. And that basically led to ever more business, ever bigger clients as things are. We have a bigger portfolio. We had more clients. So we got more projects in that budget range. They were onboarded and immediately taken out of my hands because my team could handle them basically independently. I'm not white labeling. We are working actually as a fixed team, but still, I'm not involved in the delivery anymore unless I want to, or unless I have to, or unless I can help somewhere. It's not like I'm losing focus or I don't know what the hell is happening. I'm still like CC'd in the mails and I kind of know what's happening in the Slack channels and whatnot, but important is I don't have to worry about the schedule planning or client handling or all of that kind of stuff anymore, which allowed me to actually take my first vacation. For 3 weeks, I went to Senegal at the end of last year, which was wild, and it worked out. Lead gen didn't stop. Oh, I mean, it kind of stopped, but it picked right up because I had prepped quite well. The projects were handled. I came back and business was still great. Ever since, I always expected to eventually hit a limit because we are, as I mentioned, 8 people, including myself. I was expecting to eventually hit a limit of just like how many projects we can take. But turns out the people in my team got closer and closer. We got better and better at working with each other. They learned a ton. My designers and developers are moving and developing incredibly. So quality got higher. We are still taking more projects, but also bigger projects. So the overall revenue is increasing pretty nicely. But so far, we're actually still the same team size. Only now it's becoming a more and more well-oiled machine. And my project manager is actually starting to get new business on board for us for a little bit of commission. That's roughly where we are now. But in recent months, we now have 4 to 5 kind of bigger projects at once. And we have our first real custom dev project, which of course is a completely different sphere in terms of project scope. That brought us to the 85K in revenue in July. And it was fun. It was a good time. So here we are now. What I learned from BMI in the second year, or basically ever since I started hitting 40K revenue, was at this point, I can make a lot of decisions by myself in my business because I've been there. I kind of can navigate the situations a lot better than I could when I started BMI. So I'm not as much of a rookie, but now it's about the strategic stuff. And it goes to show once again that if I were just by myself and if I would make these decisions by myself, I would have made a hell of a ton of stupid decisions. And this way I can exchange with people. I can talk to people I know. I got to know people a lot better. So I know who to ask for my sales call questions, for my strategic questions. What if I want to take on a dev project? How the hell do I bill it? I know who to ask for this. And this is a big factor and like what platforms to use. So I'm still bouncing off basically every major decision that is a first to me with people in BMI. I usually know who to approach. I gotten a lot closer with everybody there. And what I've also seen as a change is that while I was kind of a rookie and was very impressed by everybody for good reason in my first year of BMI, now the coin has flipped a little bit. And now people start messaging me and asking me questions about my processes and about my proof of concepts. And that's actually interesting and rewarding to see. And it's great to see new people coming into BMI and I can share them some learnings. They ask me how I work on this platform or how I do this and that. And we can kind of strategize together, which helps them because they need some answers. And it helps me because I get to process the things that I'm doing. And by handing them over to somebody else, I get to process them myself. Now it's this more mature but very well-oiled collaboration. And it's daily. Every day I'm talking to somebody from BMI. We're exchanging about topics, about subjects. I have friendships in there. And still, I would be very anxious to run my business without BMA. And I'm very happy to still be in the community. It's just more fun and more high level and strategic at this point than it was at the start because I can handle a lot of the operations and smaller tasks myself. I'm a cautious business grower in the sense that I want to make sure I got the structure and then I throw more project at the structure so the structure can handle it. And also I want to take good care of my team. We just had our first meetup in Berlin where everybody came to visit and we hung out for a weekend and it was legitimately heartwarming. It's a big part of why I'm enjoying what I'm doing because I really enjoy the people I'm working with. I want to take care of them. And I feel the more I'm going to reward them, the more they're going to reward, well, me and the business. So roughly keep doing what I'm doing. Bigger projects, more projects, better projects, meaning better paid projects, and also take on more complex projects. We have some good people on staff right now who are quite versed in custom development. So we are currently working on our full custom dev project and we might be taking on a second one. We start to pitch for these kind of projects, which is a definite growth, as well as solidifying the lead funnels we have right now, as well as adding a couple of other ones. So just everything is more set. We're in a good place right now. And if we would manage to stay roughly there for the rest of the year, then that would be a great success. That would already be a tremendous growth compared to last year. And for somebody who's only in business for 2 years, it's going quite well, I think, at least for myself, for what I would consider business success. So keep doing what we're doing. It's working so far. Revenue is steadily declining since the start of the year. If it plateaus here and we keep it for the end of the year, that's fine. As long as it doesn't decline, of course, which always makes everybody anxious. In short, keep the team happy, keep the revenue where it is, take on more projects, cooler names, more complex projects, and then take it from there. I've been thinking a lot about who should join and who should not join BMI because I have people in my environment who are, I would say, eligible or who are good candidates for BMI, colleagues, friends, acquaintances, whatever. And it turns out that people see roughly what I'm doing and they see I'm building this agency and they see it's going well. I've got an interest about this from people in my friend group and in my circle. And more often than not, there are people who I would consider prime candidates because maybe they are quite well versed in the technical fields. They are developers. They are planning or like playing with the thought of being freelancers or being like self-employed. And it turns out that so many people, although they are candidates, they just end up not going for the route. And that's usually because they are scared of doing it. I mean, I've been in the same place, right? Something is telling them, maybe it worked for Marten, but it's not going to work for me for reason X, Y, Z. Maybe I should do it sometimes in the future, but currently my job is kind of going well and I'm kind of avoiding the uncertainty that would come with it. And a good friend of mine who's currently signing up for BMI, he's going through the same process, and I've been kind of like witnessing him, asking himself the same questions I've been asking myself, like, how the hell, like, why would I succeed? Where do I get leads from? How do I even like find a portfolio? There's all of these questions that you run into, which is natural, and it takes time to go through that process. But some people just keep going through the process until they eventually book the call with Alex and then decide whether to join or not. And some people just bounce off the walls at some point until there. And I'm surprised by the amount of people who just don't get to even seriously consider it, despite all the evidence, basically the low risk of like, you don't need too much to start this business, to give it a try, invest 6 months of your life, do the work, see where it gets you. You're going to learn an incredible amount of knowledge. You're probably going to be successful. and, go from there. But so many people don't try it. And I've been surprised by this. So I think the people who should join BMI are those who are more excited than terrified of the opportunity of actually becoming self-employed and successful. You need to be excited about the work. You need to be excited about the outcome. And if you just tell yourself, it's not going to work out, it's not going to be me, it's like, what if something goes wrong, la di da di da, then you're never going to start it anyway. But if you put in the work, we have the blueprint to give you the best chance you ever had at being self-employed and building your own agency. And that took a lot of uncertainty out of my hands. My image of self-employment always was, I'm going to do it for 2 years, then I'm going to be poor, and then I'm going to have to be employed again because I run out of money. And a friend of mine who went to join BMI gave me this idea of like, wait, I can follow this process. And if I join and if I follow this process, there's like a 60, 70% chance that if I invest the hours in the work, I'm going to get a reward out of it. And it's going to be working out. And that it took this uncertainty and this level of clutter away from me, and it allowed me to get going. And it sparked motivation in me. I was also terrified, but more motivation than being terrified. And well, if you think that could be you, then sign the hell up. Like, do it now.